What's up, y'all?
More watch.
We back, y'all. We back, y'all.
Yes.
Well, it's actually we black, y'all.
It's that time of
That's the actual
Yes.
song.
It is.
Because it's Black History Month.
It is Black History Month.
And
Happy
there's
BHM.
no way as Black Watts can we not talk about Black History Month.
Facts.
Should be
Facts
all
on
the
facts
time.
on facts.
Thank you for tuning in. I am Chad Bennett. You can find me on IG at Chad Bennett.
I'm Chris Harvell. You can find me on IG at Tron Rides.
Yes, I look up the Black Watch cycling page. Black Watch cycling on IG.
Yo, I just want to not laugh one good time.
Yo, I can't.
One
I
good
can't.
time. I just want to not try to laugh.
Come on, man.
I can't.
Get at me, man. We gonna talk.
I can't. But yeah, Black History Month. What does that mean for cycling?
What's
I
that
don't
mean?
feel like it means anything with cycling, man. I'm sorry.
So sad.
I'm really sorry, y'all. Please hit us in the comments. Hit us in IG.
That is
if
so
I'm wrong.
sad.
Please send me something where within the last 3 years, because we were on fire in 2021.
Hey, yo, we was lit.
2020, we was lit,
Yo,
bro.
shout out to
BLM.
my guy. Shout out my guy Chuck. He called this shit. He said, "Yo, we got to strike while it's hot,
Yo.
because in a couple of years we not gonna be hot no more."
There's
Words.
black squares on all manner of pages. Yeah, the black
Word.
square.
Yeah. So let me ask though, like, yo, what have brands done?
I don't know.
Like just in the industry. I don't care if it's wheel manufacturers, people that make bar bags. I don't care who, apparel. I don't care who it is. Yo, has anybody ever made a Black History Month kit?
That wasn't black.
No, I'm just saying. Okay, has Castelli ever made one?
Rafa.
Rafa.
I just
Nah.
like
Nah.
if we're gonna celebrate it, this is probably my biggest gripe is that can we just stop disassociating Black History Month with colors of black, red, and green? There are so many other ways. Not saying that
Chad.
we, you know,
Expand your palette.
like not saying that there's not a level of connection. There is. I just think that shit is like it is old. There are so many other ways that you can connect Black History Month to like the initiatives that are happening by so many great black people right now that there's no need to just keep shoving black, red, and green down our throats. Like, oh my gosh, even if there was a connection with like the colors, there's still other ways that you can go about celebrating black people in the history and the things that we have done for this country,
Yes.
for this world. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm gonna need y'all to get creative. Or going back to a previous episode, you could just have us in a room. We could tell you don't do that shit.
Word. Yo, like,
You looking right now?
yeah, I'm searching.
What are you trying to searching for? What though?
I'm just Googling like
all the brands that
Black
he's,
History Month and cycling. Those keywords to see what comes up.
Shout out to Zwift, who's
Yo, yes.
actually taking a step forward and actually doing a lot of Zwift group rides with black cycling clubs and opening up the conversation. Like, shout out to y'all for that.
Yeah.
Black
you know,
Cyclist
like-
Network is. Bank City is going to be featured with Zwift.
Yeah.
There's a few other black clubs
I
that are
saw
going to be
that,
featured
yeah.
with Zwift.
Bank City, I think Getting It In,
Getting
which
it
is
in,
out
yeah,
of DC.
out of the DC area.
They're
Shout
gonna
out
be
to the DMV.
featured. So that's dope. But any of the cycling apparel brands,
Yo, why? It's the easiest thing, bro.
it's the easiest thing for us.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
I mean,
We were the first people to get a month in the country.
Yo,
Shortest month. We got a month.
February.
Like we should be celebrating the Nelson Vales, the Major Taylors, the Bahatis, the
Yeah, even if you wanted to just keep it to cycling, it's not like it doesn't exist. Like I understand, historically, maybe that's just not where your bag is, but even if you just kept it strictly to the sport itself, then there's plenty of figures and individuals who contributed countless amounts to the actual sport itself. So that should definitely be available to all.
Yeah,
You need
I mean,
to talk
look,
about that.
Look, Black History Month is in February because
The shortest month of the year, by the way.
No, because it coincides with Lincoln's birthday and Frederick Douglass's birthday, right? Lincoln and Frederick Douglass used to correspond a lot. Frederick Douglass is given credit for pushing Lincoln in their private communications to end slavery, right? Obviously, we know that there were greater things, around the Civil War and that sort of thing, as well as representation in Congress. We know our history, but why? It is like my daughter asked me, she was like, "Oh, what are y'all doing for Black History Month, Dad? Because in school we're doing da 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 da," right? And I didn't take that to mean literally like, what is Black Watts doing? I took that to mean like, why aren't there any image? Why isn't there any imagery of or celebration of Black cyclists during Black History Month? And I don't have an answer for it. Even if you just said, okay, we're going to pick Black champions in cycling, old and new, and it was the same people shown all over and over again. Like, that doesn't even happen. And I don't have an answer.
I have a question to piggyback off that. Why do we have to celebrate Black History Month?
Who, the country or Black people?
Black people.
Well, it's an
You get where I'm going?
No, I know.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do.
All right.
I mean, look, I think it's important to celebrate because for countless centuries we were not acknowledged, right? Our contributions to America were not acknowledged. They were swept under the rug. They were ignored. We were made to believe that they didn't exist. So, having a month to bring about all of our contributions and to remember what we've done historically and what we're doing currently and what our path is forward, I think is important.
Okay. That's fair. I mean, I went to a historically Black college, so for me,
Yeah, Black History Month is every month. Right. I got it, but again,
you know what I'm saying? So like to just like hyper focus on February for it just feels very like weird for me, like especially.
That is true. That is true. But because it exists, I need some hyper focus in February.
No, I'm not saying we shouldn't. I just don't know if it should be coming from
Black people.
Black people.
To focus on us?
No, I know what he's saying. Like, why our history is our history. We know what time it is. The people that are missing these very important points and key individuals that in time is not us. We're not missing it. We could be further educated. Yeah, like there's some like I learned about a couple of people just recently that I've never heard of. That's dope. But I mean, for the most part, what he's saying is our history should be that is. Who it's missing on is the rest of the public sphere. It's not us.
Yeah.
It's like y'all need to know. Like you need to understand that this country is not operating without us. Like it can't happen, wouldn't happen without us. So here's the contributions made, whether by force or otherwise. In fact, because it was forced upon us, and then here we still are, and here these dope ass stories are. That's even more amazing. But you don't know about it. So it should be told to you. And I think maybe that's a secondary part. Like, yeah, there should be like cycling, maybe not, whatever. But we should definitely take more responsibility to push these stories out to the greater public. Y'all need to notice.
Yeah. I mean, but our youth need to know too, right? Like
they do.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you start thinking about like, see, we're in a bit of a bubble in the Northeast because things are more progressive here. Like we think about what's been going on with Texas. Critical race theory and how that has been,
as far as what's being taught in schools and such,
how it's been usurped to be this whole thing, right? And even the name critical race theory, fine, the name can be whatever the fucking name is, but like the premise, though, the basic premise is just about telling the actual facts.
Yeah, but I don't want
about what happened.
But you bring that up, like I don't want to get too far into the weeds, but you said we're in a bubble in the Northeast, but the truth of the matter is most, if not all, public school curriculums come out of Texas. And so for those type of things to be mishandled or like tried to, you know what I mean? Like you said, swept under the rug.
Yeah.
If it happens there, eventually that will be swept under the rug
Yes.
here because that's where those curriculums are coming from.
Yes.
So it's a big deal. Like if it's not looked upon, if it's looked upon as a one-off, that's wrong because that really affects our kids everywhere if that's the case. So, I mean, things of that nature, like examples like that, that's crazy. So a big responsibility definitely falls on us if we're looking for them to push it and we're not, I mean, yelling and screaming at ourselves. That's a big deal. So I say we should, they should, they need to know, they need to learn, but we need to be teaching.
And it's multifaceted, right? It's like we need this broad brush to really tell stories, right? We were talking about storytelling in the prior episodes, but like storytelling about who we are as a group of people, what our contributions have been, not only to the United States, but to the world. And then there's another layer to it, which is what stories are being told, like how everybody always falls on Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Nobody talks about A. Philip Randolph. Nobody talks about Denmark Vesey. Like, there's just so many people who contributed to things. And even when they talk about King, they're always talking about him being the peaceful, gentle man. They don't talk about the poor people's movement. They don't talk about how he was against the Vietnam War. You know, they don't talk about before he was killed, his speeches at that point in time were centered around like saying, hey, maybe we need to not integrate so quickly.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to separate. Almost like if you're injured, you have an injured body part, right? Like you gotta provide healing just to that body part. So maybe we need to separate. I know we fought for integration. I know we fought for all these things, but this is also something that we need to do because when he started to take a broader look at, you know, what was going on, it was just like, yo, like we're still hurt.
Right.
We're in that same burning house.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
That's a fact.
You know, like,
Yeah.
so, you know, like it's so multifaceted and it's just, you know, sometimes when I think about, you know, us having kids, right, we're talking about what we're teaching them and what they learn about the history of my house being multicultural because my wife is Jamaican. So my kids are Jamaican, multi-ethnic, bi-ethnic, I should say. It's just, you know, right.
Same
yeah.
for you.
Right. So all of us, right? We're all Jamaican by marriage, right? So it's like, yo, we are, bro. Bro, I've been Jamaican for about 24
Jamaican
years.
by
bro.
marriage.
I've been Jamaican for 24
Golly.
years, bro. Shout out to my Jamaicans.
Drew Stew.
But you know what I mean? So when we talk about like, you know, not just in this space, there are some brands that try to do a good job of at least highlighting stories.
They all don't need to be historical stories, by the way.
Ah, yeah,
Because
that's
we're
another.
doing phenomenal shit today that celebrates the month of Black history. You know, like Target has done a great job at highlighting artists and designers that are Black and showcasing their products. J. Crew also
Recently, as of late, yep.
took the opportunity to showcase and highlight artists as well and the products that they're promoting. So like, yes, we should not shy away or stop celebrating the history, like the MLKs. I don't think Malcolm X gets enough celebration. That's a whole nother story.
Say word.
That's my man.
But all, you know, like all those Rosa Parks, Soldier of Truth, all those people, we should still continue to learn and understand the things that they've done to allow us to get to this point to have this conversation. But I also think we should talk about the brands and the artists and the creators today that are setting the path forward for the kids that we are now raising. Mm-hmm. Like that is super important. So I want to take an opportunity to just shout y'all out that are pushing forward every day to create things and disrupt the status quo of whatever you're working on. You know, like you're pushing the boundaries, you're coloring outside of the lines. Like this month is for y'all too.
The current legends, people that are, I mean, becoming legendary in front of our eyes and all that. Like, you know how kids are, like they're, you know, history is history. That's cool. I like those black and white pictures and all that. But, you know what I mean, these people, like what I see in front of my face is far more important. So definitely to highlight those people, whether we do the storytelling, or these brands do as well. But that's a great point, especially when it comes to children.
Absolutely, because if you think about it, with the way we visualized how our parents grew up was in black and white. Like,
yeah, literally thought about it, right? Yeah,
the pictures were black and white. The way our kids will now grow up will now be in color and be in motion
and video. Yeah,
so
4K shit.
4K, the clarity to understand. You know, like when you see a picture of like Malcolm X or Martin Luther, and you know, like we've got an opportunity to see in black and white their speeches, right? But to now, like imagine if we were to see them in 4K color.
That would be crazy.
The emotion, the connection, the way a video editor would be able to look into the crowd and see how they are making someone connect to the speech and the history, like the topic that is being discussed. This world could be completely different.
Yeah. It definitely will. When I see to that point, like when I see old photos of like Muhammad Ali, that's one thing. But when I you know what Magnum photos are, like the archive.
Oh yeah.
When I see like the joint with him underwater, or like the close up, it's like a real big close up of him. Like just when the resolution is just crazier, like it drives it home even more. Like I feel like I'm, instead of it being a past thing, that nostalgia is dope. Like when you see old pictures of your grandparents and all, you know, that nostalgia is fire. But to that point, to bring it home, like if you're able to grab hold of heroes, whether from the past or current, like right now, if these kids could get hold of it in that type of structure, that'd be dope as hell.
Yeah.
It was, you know, I'm about drawing the through lines, right? So from what you guys are saying, right? So take Fred Hampton, right? He was killed at 21 years old, you know, Chicago.
Yep.
Chairman.
He was 21.
Yeah.
Right? So when young people are saying like, where's the leadership? It's like, you are the leader.
Yeah.
You understand? Like times are different. It's not 1960s, 1950s. You can make a difference, right? So sometimes they need to have that through line. Or if it's not an athlete, someone like James Baldwin, who's an author, a storyteller, right? Very articulate man, very well spoken on the issues that in his journey, right? As a black man in America, and the way it was again in the 60s.
His power to conceptualize was
amazing.
That was crazy. I think
it was amazing.
When he left and came back, he did all of that, and he was 29. He wasn't even 30 by the time he came back from France.
Yes.
I believe. Just the way he pictured life as a black man, or just as a person of color in this country, outside this country, and then coming back, and from an individual as a collective, he just was able to view it and articulate it from each one of those spots. And
that was the part that was amazing, was his ability to articulate so well.
Yeah. So well. The way he painted, his storytelling, the way he would paint a picture of things.
Yeah, it's dope.
And most of the times when he spoke, he would be at debates or what we considered hostile environments, right?
Yeah, super hostile. Some 1960 old white dude in your face telling you, like, right to your face.
Yes.
He would handle it very
Poise.
well. Like, yeah, word.
You know what I mean? Like, so don't get me wrong. Like,
somebody, man.
It's these figures. I mean, I love my Alis. I love my athletes that have really pushed the ball forward there, right? Because I see it as a spectrum, and I believe that everybody needs to be moving forward in some way. But like, to me, when I think about our history every day, you know, like I think about like these folks,
scholars, artists,
artists, business people,
yeah,
right? Like just people who are doing things, who were the pioneers of things. And it's what saddens me most, and Black History Month always resurfaces this for me in a way that is really saddening, is that the level of progress that we've made in this country as a group of people from the Civil Rights Act to now. The Civil Rights Act, I believe we became full citizens, right? Voting Rights Act, Civil Rights Act, when we had all the same rights, to now, man, if we were looking at that, it'll be like, yeah, we got a couple more billionaires here and there. We got a couple more millionaires here and there. But as a whole, we have fatherless homes more. Our incarceration rate of our men is so much higher, right? Not to mention our level of substance abuse, alcoholism. It's just.
I mean, these are trappings of this country. So if, to keep it in perspective, like we went through. You already know what it is. We went through that crack era and all that. But again, it's a trapping of the nation at large. Like how it's handled. Okay, we could speak about that later. But like, there's a opioid epidemic and people are dropping dead. Fentanyl is murking left and right. So there's always that issue. I think the greater point is, at least for us, is that the things that we've were subject to, not by way of, obviously not our choice, and even not by bad choices, but we were subjected to these things, and still here we are. Yes. And all through the line of history, recent times, and even going back to, when we first were snatched up and bought here. So all those things happening, and here we still stand is a testament. For me, like Black History Month, yes, it should be celebrated all the time, obviously, but specifically for the month, it makes me harken back to, or at least try to dive on my family's. I got heroes in my family.
Yes.
Like, although it might be clearly the people that we know as a collective that we all can reach to, and even those that we might have to learn about, like you mentioned, that are still names, but they might not be uttered all the time. Those people need to be discussed and talked about. But there are heroes right close to you that are 1, 2, 3 people removed, a parent, a grandparent, and a great grandparent removed. So my great grandfather was somebody that I look upon in that same light, just because of what he was able to accomplish and why, and for his family and what that meant. So, I mean, the storytelling is all over the place. If we wait for them or for brands or whoever, I think we'll be at a loss. So it's something that we could do.
We should knock on the door and be like, yo, you need to be telling these stories with us.
I mean, the resources are on that side, so that's why.
They
yes,
need to
of
be
course.
telling these stories with us,
especially if we're the ones buying.
Yes. Absolutely.
You know what I'm
spinning
saying?
the bread,
it's like you want us to spend money and you don't want to talk to us. You just expect us to go in the store and buy your product.
Bro, something I think about, and I was thinking about this because my grandmom, she's going through some health troubles right now. So shout out to my brothers and sisters back home that are really stepping in, and we're doing the best that we can for her.
Shout out Granny,
she has
prayers up.
Third grade education, bro. 92 years old. Picking cotton. You feel me? She married my grandfather when she was 30. Asked me how old he was. I think it was in the 60s.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? He was bugging. He was bugging. But I think about her, and then conversely, I think about my wife's mom, who's an immigrant. She's Jamaican born and bred, became a U.S. citizen. But her story and how she came to the country, and when I listen to them both speak together, but when I talk to them, and I'm always, I'm 20 questions. I'm asking them tons of questions about their journeys in life. What's so interesting is how they mirror each other. But my mother-in-law, as a Black Jamaican woman, she felt prejudice from Black Americans because she was Jamaican, right? So when I'm trying to peel that back and talk to her about that and how that has changed, and obviously her mindset has changed, everything has changed. She understands better about how the country worked, because when she first came into the country, she didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, she was like, yo, I'm about to work, make this money, like do what I got to do. And it was just such a different perspective. And I think about how, for me, it's two women that stand out to me. I don't really have male figures in my life. I got some uncles that did their thing. Don't get me wrong, but not like how these two women are tent poles to me. So I started thinking about, like, why is that? What's happening to the Black family? The separation of men outside of the family. Like, why more of us aren't present, fathering, being spouses, partnering. Like, it's just.
I think it was a gap in time, but I
feel like it was purposeful.
Yes,
like,
of course it was.
I feel like it was intentional to break down the Black family.
And to me, this is why.
And I'm not on some old, like, you know what I'm saying?
No. That's real
agree.
talk. That's
Yeah.
real talk. And the reason why I stand here, like, instead of feeling that type of, like, that way, I feel proud because that did happen. It happened directly to my father and his cousins and his line in that family. If you look at the line as far as like where we came from and what we were able to do, that you could just, and it's not just him. Ask a lot of people like, yo, what happened? Oh yeah, my uncle, my so-and-so, this happened. They went to jail, drugs, what? And it was that gap of time, 79 to 99. Like that 20-year period was ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
So to look now and be like, yeah, you're a father of 5 kids, you have 1, I got 2. Like, and I look around at the space and my brothers, the people that I know, you're all fathers. Nobody's out here wilding. You know what I mean? So that happened, and here we go again. We right back to it. So
yeah, we're
a testament
part
to
of
that.
The Renaissance, the rebirth.
We're part of the breaking of the generational curse.
All right.
You know, like I think this is a phenomenal time for us because, you know, we're breaking those generational curses, and now as Black men specifically, we are now seeking out therapy. You know, like talking through the challenges we had, and the trauma was something that we've never done as Black people. Period. Not even just Black men, but people.
Yes.
So now that we're seeking out those resources, we're now breaking general curses. We're now looking at how we were raised by our parents, good or bad. We are here to tell those stories. And we're now raising our children differently. So now our kids will grow up and do the same. You know, for some of us, we didn't talk about sex. We didn't even know how to open up to our parents. And now it's just like, we're having these full-on discussions with our children.
Probably earlier too.
Earlier, and we're allowing them to be vulnerable to us, which is something that for a lot of us growing up, we weren't able to do with our parents. And we seeked out our friends in the external community.
Sought out the streets.
Yeah, or the streets.
Word up.
So our kids are now being raised completely different than how we were. We're just also something I think is super amazing is now we're talking about financial freedom and financial literacy, which is for a lot of us.
Just as a subject matter, period.
Yep. You know, like, I think, you know, like because my mother was an accountant, I was kind of blessed to kind of understand what, you know, financial literacy meant and like understanding your credit score. But for a lot of my friends, that wasn't a topic of discussion, you know? So now I'm able.
Yeah, not at early stages.
Not at early. So now I'm able to tell my daughter, and now she can share that knowledge with her friends, and now it's a discussion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine a group of 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, and you're talking around like financial literacy, the ability to talk about stocks and bonds and, you know, like a debit card versus, you know, a credit card and what that really means. And, you know, like
now they're holding each other accountable.
Yeah, like that's
to me, that's the dope shit right
that's
there.
Fire. Like we're changing the paths of our kids from how we grew up.
Yeah, they don't even. When I look at my nieces and nephews, and you know, teenagers always have angst. That's just a part of growing up or whatever. So there's always something there. But I think about that, like when it came to what our parents went through, or aunts, uncles, whoever that may be, that just that time frame, like you were talking about, right after civil rights, whatever happened, whatever was orchestrated, because it was
orchestrated.
Yeah, however that went down, and however you may have been affected indirectly or directly. Like I look at them and I'm like, damn, they don't. It's not that they don't know about it, but they don't have to. I like that. Like they might have. There's a different thing I have to talk to them about. Like when you talk about, like, oh yeah, uncle talking to me about girls, it's a different conversation. Or like somebody recently was talking about being prepared for the world versus like me being able to teach you about the different ins and outs about the world. But if I had to go, the education that I got was not secondhand, you went to go find it directly, like whether it was not in the streets, but you know what I mean? Like I didn't have pops telling me, hey, don't do this, whatever. Do these things, don't do these things. So it was like, that's firsthand. But I was learning it as I went. And so they don't have to do that. And I think that's just a big deal. There's a big piece that you're not losing out on. Right. And to me, that's just fire. Like you said, we breaking curses out here. Like it's not, the cycle got chipped away. So, you know what I mean? We're starting a new one.
And you know, y'all are right. There's a part of me that feels like there's so many that are left behind though, right? Because my kids are growing up very differently than like even my cousins, right? Like my cousins' children are very, very different in what their upbringing was like. I have a big family in DC, y'all. Like I have like over 120 family members in DC.
Wow.
So when I say I'm from DC, I'm from DC, baby.
In the guts.
You know? But my family has generational poverty, right? Like the number of my cousins that receive some form of public assistance it makes me angry sometimes, right? Because I'm like, I want them to do better. I need them to do better. And I've started thinking about when I'm having conversations with them, I ain't trying to be, because now I'm like the oldest person in my family. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like up there. You know what I mean? It's wild, right? But like, so now I'm talking to them. I'm not trying to be like how my uncles used to be like, let me tell you. Da, 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 da. So I'm trying to lay back and I'm trying to listen. But they're sedated, man, with so many things. Maybe it's alcohol, maybe it's weed, whatever. But I'm saying like emotionally the trauma and what they run from and how that drives their life. So we're talking about, economic, empowerment and literacy. Like I have some cousins that are brilliant people. Some people are, some people ain't got it, but then some people got it. Like brilliant people, but like they're a victim of their environment. Like they just can't break away or see beyond that, and it's, for me, it hurts because I'm just like, I know so much, right? And I try to impart it on them, but I'm like, how are they gonna actualize it? So here my kids are traveling the world, have a passport, first of all. Yeah. Then has been all over the world, literally, have studied abroad. Like my kids have had so many great things that my wife and I have been able to provide for them. But that's not the experience of just even people that are in their own family.
That break from the environment is sometimes all important. Like that'll be it right there. Like if you're unable to do so, if you're unable to get out of that, wherever that is, like you said, is DC for your family or whatever. If you can't break away from that, then the things you are saying are real, but are they, like you said, are they actualized to them? Yeah. Like, can they put that in practice?
It's like a video game. It's like
a video game.
I hear you talking, cousin. You're going to South Africa, but
it might as well be a movie.
Exactly.
And I think that's, that I think that's why as a community we should continue, but also do a better job of reaching back. I think a lot of what we've done just as like Black Watts is we've done a lot to reach back. That's why this podcast exists. That's why we offer rides, to newer cyclists, because that is how we want to reach back to get more people involved. And I think that same strategy should apply to other industries as well. Like whatever you could do to reach back to your family members to give them that experience. I'm not saying you buy them a first class ticket to whatever, but figuring out a way to give them small resources or to give them somewhat of that experience is how you start.
Yeah. But that's heavy though, bro.
That is heavy. Like, and that's
sometimes it's like,
that's why it truly takes a village.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Yes. I think the village needs to be fostered. I think, for example, last week because our daughters go to the same school. Last week, my daughter got out of the car. I looked back. I see his wife bringing his daughter to school. I roll down the window and I tell my daughter, go get her and walk her to school. Like walk her through the door. It's just that small example of making sure that as a village, we take care of one another, making sure that his daughter gets through the door safely. Y'all walk in together. You know what I'm saying? Like that's truly where it starts.
And it's like so multi-level, right? Because
that's why it shouldn't be a month.
That's like
so deep, bro.
When I asked that question, that's basically what I was getting at. It was like, also was just like, yo, why do we have to be the ones to celebrate this month? Like, when, like, our celebration should be every month. Like, there shouldn't be a reason that we have to stop celebrating March 1st. That's wild.
It is. Or why we need to start celebrating February 1st.
Exactly.
Right? You know what I mean? Like January don't matter, because I'm going to tell you, one of the things I was talking to my little cousins about, right, was about the wealth gap, right? You know the statistics, like historically, Black Americans have always been like severely behind the white Americans. Like the average white American household wealth is like a few $100,000, where ours is like $1,000,
maybe
$500, maybe, right? And that is directly related to redlining and home ownership, right?
Don't get me started on that.
Because the average American holds a vast amount of its wealth in homes. Yeah. So when you go backwards to the 60s, right? Civil Rights Act was passed, Truth in Lending Act, like all these things were happening, right? We're not even going to get into the GI Bill and all the other stuff.
You should, though, because that
World War II. Right, but when
GI Bill in Levittown made a big difference.
Bruh, but when you start moving forward and you're like, oh, snap, I can't get a mortgage for my home. I can't get a loan. You know what I mean? Like, so I can't even buy a home, or all the homes we have to be over in this one area. Yeah,
and which you can control the actual value increase or decrease of that one area. Hell
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's dastardly, bro. Like,
raising property taxes.
Yeah, yo. So then when you string it together, and I'm telling them, I'm like, listen, I need you to understand that this has happened in the past, and we got to be aware of it, because it reared its head again with the mortgage crisis, right? Where Wells Fargo was taking people with perfect credit scores and giving them subprime loans.
Yeah.
Right? Interest rates are like crazy.
And then the other way around. Trash credit scores. Here, take this balloon, take this arm real quick.
Yes.
You're going to be done in a couple of months, B.
Yeah, and you know what I mean? Like, and it's hard because our white counterparts who are equal in terms of what we look like on paper, right? Like credit score, income, right? You know, we should be invisible. It should just be, right? But they're getting grit products. They're not more knowledgeable about the products.
No.
They're just getting good products given to them, and we're getting shitty products given to us.
Except for the fact, and even if you just left it there and was like, oh, that's a terrible practice, except for the fact that most, outside of, free labor and slavery, most of the wealth accumulation in this country came by way of the American dream and owning at home with the picket fence and all of that shit. Yes. So you're able to pass that down. So now 2-3 generations removed, your kid still has the same house great grandpa got.
Yes.
And we out here in apartments and it's a big
bro, but
deal.
It's not even that. Like, you had land. Great grandpa had land. Had house on the land.
Yeah.
Right. And as development changed and urban centers grew out, now you selling off parcels of the land, and wealth just continues to increase.
Yeah, but also, why when we get a little bit of change, we move out the community? That doesn't help.
Yeah, it's tough, bro.
Yeah, but that's also another. You're right. In doing that is like, damn, we should probably stay put and enhance the place where we're at. But
look at Brooklyn, bro.
Yeah,
Brooklyn. You can't call Brooklyn. Look at Harlem. You can't call Harlem. Like, bro, like the white people came through, gentrification came through. Sorry, white people, but gentrification came through, and when Harlem was selling those brownstones, people were running away.
Yeah, but it happened even before that, because Strivers Row existed, and so those homes got bought
Sugar
up.
Hill, yes.
Yeah, those homes got bought up to be dilapidated to only then come back and now raise the price up.
Bruh.
So that's an orchestration that's bonkers. Like,
talk about
over the course of like 40 years, like
talk about it
right
bro.
now, son. Like, that's out of control.
We have to dip back into the community. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to stay in the community, and we can't get upset, honestly, when these things happen, and then move out the community and then shun the community.
Yeah, and then look back like, oh, that's bad.
It's hard, Okay, so here's the hard part about this, because this is something I think a lot about, right? Like, I was fortunate that my grandmom who raised me, we lived on Capitol Hill in D.C. Right? Mm-hmm. So even when drugs and stuff were happening, we got it, because everybody got it. Yeah. But when they went away, we're on Capitol Hill. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're still physically located on Capitol Hill. Right? My grandmother's house is probably worth a little over $1 million.
Yeah.
She bought the house. Her and my grandfather bought the house for like $20,000 or something ridiculous like that. Right? But that right there, versus if I have some cousins that grew up on the wild side of town, always been wild on that side of town, and it's still wild on that side of town. So now you go to school, right? You get your education, you get you become gainfully employed, and you move your way up, in your employment. You earn more money. Do you stay in the wild side of town now?
No, but what you would have to do, and it would have to be something that you plan on. No,
you kids. You don't want your kids walking outside. They don't.
You would have to. You would have to gentrify your community as well. You would have to do it. You and all the people you graduated with from the school you went to have to come back and gentrify the same hood you came from.
I mean, coming back.
That's got to be the plan. So
that's got to be the plan.
For the amount of trauma we have, man.
It's a collective. It's the village. You know what I'm saying? It takes a village. You have to take this mindset away that all of the weight falls on your shoulders to make change.
Take that cape off, share it, bro. Cut that, share that.
It's got to be a community effort.
So why y'all think it ain't happening?
It is. I think it is happening.
It is happening.
So you think there's some cities where, parts of cities where they're like, we're not moving out. You're a doctor.
Or move back,
You're an entrepreneur. I'm a lawyer.
Facts.
We're not leaving.
Absolutely.
We're going to buy up all the... But guess who's buying up all the property, though? So we can't even buy the property.
Bro, I don't know about you, but I get calls all the time, people trying to buy my property. All the time.
Mailings and all that.
Mailings, letters on my door.
And different like cash companies that'll give you a cash offering or that happens all the time.
And there are people that come in and buy up our communities, sit on the property, do nothing with the property.
Yeah.
Let it dilapidate. I don't just mean the homes. I mean like when we were talking about locally here, having a Black Watts office and that sort of thing, and we were interfacing with different landlords, right? And they'd be like, "Oh snap, they own everything from this corner to that corner. Why ain't they doing shit?" Right?
Why would you?
Trust me, bro. Y'all know I've been fighting a good fight since I got here, trying to open up my coffee shop.
Yeah, word. But I'm just so that's my point, right? Like. Even if you get a group of families that are like, we're going to do it, right?
No, I mean, pause real quick. First of all, just because our town is a great example, I'm not going to spaz on anybody, but it's still a good example.
Spaz though out.
No, I'm not going to do it like that, but it's a great example. If we could still do it at this point in time, but what it would require at this point, just because it's so dug in, it's so old, there's just all type of old political bullshit. There's cases open, everything. You would have to come through and from top to bottom, like. For lack of a better way to explain is the current city council and whoever's in play, you got to get them up out of there. All that got to go. Everything, top to bottom. So if you're going to go after it, you go after the school board, the town itself. You and people that are like-minded would have to come together with a plan and be like, yo, we're executing this top to bottom and just go after it. I don't think you could just sit by.
Every city.
No, but to his point, I'm not going to worry about all these other cities. I'm only going to worry about where I'm at. Now, that sounds like it's selfish, but it really is a collective as well. But if you do the same thing in Detroit, and I do the same thing in Atlanta, and he does the same thing here in Jersey, but we're all doing it eventually in a generation, then we're not good, but it's on the roll.
It's progress.
Yeah.
I love that way that sound. I hope it can happen, bro. Like, I really, really do, because...
We got to do it. We got the kid. We will have the kids that can do it.
Yeah.
Because now they're provided with way more resources than we ever had.
But then they're fucking up our brains too with like the social media shit.
These are all the things we speak about. All right, to me, this is the difference. In a couple of past generations, the pieces of the puzzle that allowed for failure, which were either drugs or incarceration, some of those, and like you said, they were orchestrated. You may or may not have the tool set to fight it. The things that are orchestrated now, you have the exact same tools. The same tool set that is orchestrated against you, you own it to fight against it. So if it's like, this digital shit crazy, turn it off, bro. I'm just saying to say like whatever is against you now, you have the power to Before it was like, I don't know if I could fight this crack thing. Maybe, but that shit nuts, bro. I seen it.
Yes.
In Florida in 84, nigga, that shit was a movie, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But even just like how they were feeding us, these toxic things, like at the simplest form, cigarettes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like every movie, every TV show was promoting cigarettes. No one.
But even that, they give us the trashy ones. We get the cools.
The cools and the ports.
But like nobody,
like, we don't get the good.
Nobody at the time understood its effects on the human body. You know what I'm saying? And not just us, but
collectively,
it did us terribly wrong. You know, so like now we have the information and the resources to say, you know what? I know what that does to my body. I am all the way good.
The access to information, even if you are in an impoverished area compared to some other kid. This kid goes to private school, all that. But on a base level, do you have access to that same information? Yeah, you might. I might not have the same tech. Like I don't have an iPhone, but I got a phone. I don't have
I know what you mean. Yeah,
a laptop. You know what I mean? An AirBook, but I got a computer. I do have access to this information, and I think that levels it to the point where there's still a fight clearly. But I just mean whatever in the past that was orchestrated against me, if I was gonna fall victim, it just was, bro. It was gonna happen. Like there wasn't too much I could do to get out of that on those type of levels. I think that still exists now, but what I was saying about the kids that we're producing, we should be able, like, they don't have those same type of constraints against them. So what I give my kids is what I give my kids. That's what they're gonna go out into the world with. Not I gotta, I mean, like, don't go over here. I gotta protect you from this, protect you from that. I'm trying to equip you with everything you need to get out here and you know what I mean, and beat this shit up. Please.
Yeah,
like,
because back in the day was the library. That was your resource center. Now it's it's the internet, and you can digest it. Instead of reading 500 pages, you can digest it in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We'll talk about it later if you need to, you know. But yes, you're right.
Or, you know, if you lived in a part of town, there was someone that knocked on your door once a year to sell you an encyclopedia.
Oh, I had that Brown Jones.
You know,
and I used to beg my grandmother to buy the encyclopedias.
Bro, now like ain't nobody knocking on your door at all. Like that, all that information is at your fingertips.
So how do we use it, right? Because not us, right? We have resources, right? But I'm talking about the folks that are the kid who's going through a real hard time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's tough. Not even one pair of shoes, but like, it's just like how they're growing up is tough. And the streets are the easiest route. That's why they join gangs. That's why, you know what I mean? Like,
man, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I know people from that culture and that life or whatever that's how they live. That shit gotta end, bro. And when I say that, I mean, like, if that's the path, then there's far too much information and access to resources. Plus the cats that claim to be OGs in that life, you should have bread, right? You got money. You know what I mean? You have things that dollars you can spend. So to me, that lifestyle has to end in that sense. Like, if there's gonna be, just like we, you know, there's mentorship programs that are available, you know what I'm saying? Like black men that went through some type of educational process or have resources available to them. They mentor the different kids or whatever. Same on all levels. I don't care what it is. Like, if it's in the hood or outside of that, we should still be on it, period.
Mm-hmm. So why, when you look, so I mean, I believe some of these things have been happening. I was able to benefit from it, right? Coming through the crack era.
Same.
Like, but when you start looking at the statistics as a whole, bro, we look flat to down. Like, it doesn't look like things have improved.
As far as what?
Wealth metric 1, number of folks that are doing higher education 2. You can argue whether education should even be a metric, right? But incomes, if you look at incomes, because incomes matter in America. It actually literally matters, right? Because your income level also is a reflection of your level of healthcare. It's also a reflection of the quality of food that you're eating, right? I mean, I'm not talking about like the ancillary stuff about travel. And I'm talking about,
you're
like,
right about that.
Healthcare and food.
But the statistics can lean one way or the other. You can force a statistic to count for you. But B, I think that the difference that happens in the country at large still happens with us. So there's that far more millionaires than there used to be, but the gap between those that have and have not is ever growing. So the same with us. There's way more affluent
Yes.
African Americans, people
Yes,
of color,
yes.
period. So you always going to get more. But then the gap between those that
have
are in that group and
versus,
then like
yes.
yeah, so it's growing. So you could definitely look and be like, damn, fatherless households, is that on the decline or incline? Like honestly, do we really like? Is there? Do you know
think
that
it's
for
on
sure?
a decline.
I don't know.
Because
And
some
I
statistics
don't know.
bear out that us in particular, black men are marrying at a higher rate. So then how can fatherless households be on the incline? You know what I'm saying? So you can
on the
pull.
decline. Well, that'll be because homie got multiple kids by different women.
Yo,
Okay.
it's
Yeah,
so hard
there's-
for me to like.
It's him, but it's 5 different
Right,
households.
right.
I feel you. No,
Yeah,
that's real.
different.
No,
That's real
really,
shit.
really.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm married.
Yeah.
But I got 2 other women that
Yeah. So they
Yo,
count
but
towards
it's
that.
just and that just may be my circle, but I don't know any fathers who are not taking care of their kids.
I know several.
Damn, bro. Do you?
That-
I don't.
even if they're not not taking care of their kid, I don't know cats that are just like, nah, I'm not fucking with them kids. I don't know.
I
nah.
don't know.
Nah,
Not
B.
one.
I'm not like, fuck them kids. Really?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't know no niggas
Really?
doing that
Yes.
bullshit.
Oh, bro.
And you not smacking him up?
Bro, I say something all
Not fucking with the kids?
Nah, bro.
Like having a problem with her, I'm not gonna say that's okay.
Yes,
I'm
that's,
saying
no, that's what it is.
That's normal.
Has a problem with the mom and feels like I ain't even dealing with it.
Yeah, but
you
like
wildin'.
someone that's actually saying, my issues with the mother, but I'm actually all the way good on the kid is also.
Yeah, I'm gonna go pick them
wild.
up.
But the other end of the spectrum is, like, I know men that fought for custody of their children.
Yes, that's
Yeah, of
all I
course.
know.
And
yeah.
they have I'm saying they have soul. It's very hard in this country to be a man and get custody of your children. The woman either has to give up custody or has to have some serious issues to
Right.
where she loses custody.
Yeah.
Right. So I have both ends of the spectrum. Like I have cousins that have children with 3 women.
That's okay. I don't care about that. What I care about is the fact that is your cousin present in those children's lives. Like that is the part that
Is he?
Are they? That's the problem. It's a they.
Multiple.
Yeah.
Right? And I would say yes and no. No, from the standpoint of a few of them have their own issues where they're not present in anything. They're on drugs, alcohol, whatever, right? Others are like, I'm trying, but I can't, the dollars ain't making sense, right?
No, I didn't. I don't think he didn't say it. I'm definitely not saying. I'm not saying
it's not a
like if that's a problem.
No. And they tie that
No, that could be it.
to their ability to go out and father and be a parent.
So because their
See what I'm
dollars
saying?
aren't straight, they don't rock with the kids at all. Say yes or no to that.
Chris's opinion, no. Right? Because being a father isn't just, I'm taking you to the baseball game, I'm taking you to the swimming pool, I'm taking you to the playground. We know being a father, it requires a lot. It requires a lot. And I'm saying that they're not putting in the lot. They'll pick them up, take them swimming, take them to a game or whatever, drop them back off. That's not parenting. That's not fathering.
But
A mentor can do that.
okay, I'll give you that.
Mentor can do that.
I'll also say that, and I don't.
And I love my cousins. Don't get me wrong. I love every last single one of y'all.
That's a fact. I won't ever seek for an excuse. But when I don't like the trope. Like I don't know if it's valid or not. I'm sure at some point it was, like, especially during once like public consensus was introduced to us. Like that was some real shit. Again, that was orchestrated. But if there's like the whole black men and not being fathers thing, that's like I want to kill that.
I would like.
I want that
kill
to
it too.
die, bro. Like that shit is crazy.
Yes.
Get up out of here. I'm not saying because I'm living this life, I'm being a parent or whatever, then just because of that has to go away. But like you said, I don't know that many people, but out of that large swath of people, I don't know cats like, yo, fuck them kids. Yo.
Yeah,
I don't know any,
any.
bro. I don't know
I'm
cats like
sad
that.
that I know some. Like that's all I'm
Man.
trying to say.
No, I'm saying it to say, if I want Chad to ask everybody that he knows, do you know anyone? I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
You know some, so let's count the numbers up. And that's not a great way. It's not a great experiment. It's
I
not
know
a
what
great
you
way to
mean.
gather
Yeah,
data.
yeah.
But if I'm saying I don't, I ask the men, and then just keep that going. How many just deadbeat ass, you know what I mean, that you just know?
Bro,
I
listen.
want to say that number is not as
no,
high
no,
as way it's advertised, bro.
Okay, I agree with that. But I think it also goes to this other thing, which you brought up and Chad brought up, not directly, but to me, this was a part of it, that I don't believe that a lot of men know how to be fathers. I don't think they know what that means, right? Because, for example, the couple
based on the fact you didn't experience yourself.
Yes, the couple of dudes that I'm talking about, they didn't have. I mean, like my dad was there, but he wasn't like a dad. You know what I mean? Like how I am right now.
So where'd you get it from,
bruh? Uncles, aunties,
the village,
right?
Yeah.
No, I don't mean who was there. Like if your dad wasn't there, someone was there for you. Bet. But I'm saying your style of fatherhood. Did you learn that from somebody?
Nah, bro. That comes from me.
Right.
That comes from my desire to not have what happened to me happen to my kids.
Facts.
Yeah,
so I don't think
like,
that's something a crutch you can lean on. Like I ain't have my
yeah,
dad.
But
no, I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying.
But you just said how to be a dad. Who said you doing it right?
Exactly. but here's but no right. No. But what I'm saying is that
any of us. He means
right. I know. Yeah.
Not just you.
Correct. Yeah. No, I know what you mean. So, but what I'm saying is that there are men who aren't even thinking like that because, again, maybe in my age, as I'm aging, I'm viewing things differently because I definitely didn't feel this way 20 years ago, which was, oh, you want to have multiple women to have children with? That's your prerogative, do your thing. But now I'm like, nah, bro, you can't do that. Like,
yeah, because you've lived being a father and realized just like that's so out of control. Yes. You wrote maybe
it's
prior
so
to having
difficult
kids.
To manage.
Yes, maybe prior to having kids, or if you're just a single dude out here ripping and running and all that, it's just not something you can fathom. But yo, you sparked off with like 3 different. You got kids with 3 different.
Okay,
wow.
And they like 8 months apart.
Yo, and I'm saying that I believe that as men, I'm going to talk about black men because it's not a race thing, right? Like this shit.
No, because this happens across every
it does.
race. Yeah.
So, but I'm just saying, as black men, talking just about our own issues, I believe that we need to be told, like, bruh, don't have no motherfucking kids. Stop having children.
Yeah, accountability is a big deal.
Like, don't have any children. You got one by her. That's it.
Yeah.
Don't have any more until you're ready to make a family, bro. Like, for real, have a family and really not just like, oh, she getting on my nerves. So yeah, I pick the kids up. I take them.
But you see that's a bigger speaks to the culture at large. And we're talking about Black history as the larger topic. But also when we speak about that, for example, that era in time, that crack era, or either right before it or right after it, not only did drugs and incarceration play a big part, but also it was wiped off because our great grandfathers and our grandfathers thought exactly what you're thinking right now.
Yes,
definitely. So that not only were you messed up on drugs, but the line of thinking that you were passed down with also gets cut off because now. Pops ain't passing that to me. Yes. You know what I mean? I didn't catch it. I know it now, but you know what I mean? Like he didn't.
Yes.
Or for the ones that, went off to war, they separated us. You know what I'm saying? And we came back experiencing, I know my uncles, they shared what they experienced during the war. Vietnam.
Yeah.
That
nuts.
That was wild, bro. You know what I'm saying? So to experience that sort of trauma and come back and expect to go back into the world we know is just not possible. And so what do you turn to? Drugs.
Yeah, no.
I mean, you was getting that out there too. Yeah. So not only violence and war and the fact that you're a black man, so all of these things go on. Plus they was like, oh, by the way, if you want to feel a little better, take this smack.
Yeah.
You serious, bro?
Yeah, bro.
How did you fight that, B? How did you come back and just be okay? Under those circumstances.
I don't believe that you can. And I'm saying that when you start taking a step back and you think about even the few things that we've touched on, bruh.
Yeah, and build on top of each other.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like keeps going up and up and up. And it's just like, what the fuck? So now going back, Black History Month, right? Like we need to always be talking about these things.
Yeah.
Always.
But again, I the sum total, I look at it, all those things, like you said, and build the blocks are on top of each other. I still look at it with a smile, with a
sense of pride,
with a heart that's just like, yeah, that's what's up. Because all those things, yet we talking about how we're going to push our daughters to be on a different level, like to not see that break in time. They'll not have to worry about that break in time that happened after civil rights or whatever and be able to just move forward. Like the fact that we're able to come through all of that. His uncles and all of them went to Vietnam and got rocked and came back home. Like all those things happened, yet here we are talking about this. So, I mean, on one side you could say like, yeah, imagine if none of that happened, but it did, and here we are. So,
Yeah,
you know we do
like,
have to celebrate the progression of our community, just as much as
how I don't even know how we do it, bro. Like you
that's
couldn't make it up, bro.
That's
like,
what makes it
as
so
a people,
strong.
bro.
And
like
that's
how?
And that's why I feel so passionate about the things that we're doing is for those reasons. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, how can you not see us?
How can you not acknowledge us?
I mean, I can see it. I can see how you could be up in the top part of the tree where there's only 3 branches, and I mean proverbially, because you know that's where corporations sit, and look down upon, I mean, the customer base and just try to figure out numbers and math and whatever. If that's what you're doing, that's what you're doing. But to come down here amongst the people, there's just far too many stories. There's just too much value. There's so much going on. Like to look past it year after year, like, are y'all okay? Y'all good?
Yes.
What you doing, bro?
I think it's they look past it because it's a level of comfort.
Perhaps.
I think it's just easy to ignore it, not say nothing, because nobody.
It's comfortable.
Nobody calls you on it. It doesn't impact your sales. You know
That's
what I
our
mean?
fault.
Like, that is
That's
our fault.
Because we could definitely be like, man, anytime in the whole.
This isn't just cycling. I'm saying
no,
as a
across
whole.
the board.
Yeah, across the board.
Because I understand the utility of boycotts. I'm not speaking on that level. I'm speaking on it as just consumer. You hold the power. Just like, nah, you know what? I don't want to fuck with y'all no more.
Yeah.
And just dead them.
Yeah.
Mass on a mass level. Like they'll be like, oh shit. I know. You know what I'm saying? That line, that black number gets affected.
I personally have not shopped at H&M since that whole debacle.
It's over with.
Bro, I ain't been to Denny's since that happened.
That's how
You know what I
that's
mean?
how
Like,
simple it is for me.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Do you like?
I don't even watch the NFL anymore, bro.
I passively watch it, but I don't have a team.
I have not watched the NFL game.
Nah, but they're feeling effects, which is why all of the movement with Amazon and just different things move. They definitely make billions, tens, 12s, billions of dollars a year. It is what it is. It's just not, you can't change it as of right now. But are they feeling the effects? Yeah. And I think, but across the board, we should be on it like that. And not just people at large, but black people specifically, especially since, what are we rocking with, $1.3 trillion a year in spending power?
Easy.
I just want y'all to, I know a lot of us know this just because we're just, the audience is an educated audience, but just think about that dollar amount, bro. It's larger than
Bro, we made
bottom 50% nations.
We made Arno, who's one of the owners of LVMH,
Number 1 or 2 richest man on the
richest
planet.
man on the planet, just through the pandemic. If that don't say nothing, if you don't understand the power of what our dollar is, there's nothing that, because that was just off a few little stimulus checks, little stimmies.
Stimmies.
You know what I mean? Like, collectively, the world stopped. We got a few stimmies. We went out and shopped. We bought this dude's stuff. Bang. Now, what has he done for our community?
He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to do anything. Like, you don't have to do anything. But at the same time, we should.
So why do we keep buying
Exactly.
it?
There it is.
I need y'all to go
put the
to
power back in your own hand.
www.blackwatch.cc. Hit up the shop section.
Oh, yeah.
We have some apparel.
Shop with us, buy with us.
Yeah, shop with us. And that's, like, this is a great month for you to shop Black Watts. Because what we would do is take those resources and pour back, which we've already done.
We have a back to school drive. We have a Thanksgiving drive. We have a Christmas toy drive. We do a lot. We do a lot in the
And
community.
it allows us to continue to do this stuff, provide resources, continue to tell the stories of y'all. Like, that's really what we're doing with our money.
Yeah,
like,
word.
So, to Ox's point and your point, like, imagine if you were to shop black, what people would be able to do with those resources. If they're used properly, then they'd reach back to the community, bring someone up, hire people, like, there's so many ways that you can give back to your village, whether it's through finances or time.
Yo, I'm gonna close on this because we need to. This is Black History Month. I would like for us to revisit this conversation because there's a lot here, but I'm gonna close on this. In the 60s, we were talking about our collective economic power. We didn't really know it because we didn't have all the information.
Yeah.
Right. But now we know it, and now we're not acting on it. Like people have told me, like boycotting. What's that gonna do? Da, da, da. But it's like, yo, the fact that we have such power. When BLM happened,
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. That whole movement happened. Imagine if we decided, you know what, we're gonna start 4 banks. We're just gonna start 4 banks. I'm not saying they got to be Citibank. You know what I'm saying? Like Chase size. There can be a local community bank. Yes, there are initiatives with Greenwood and a few other things. But I mean, like truly, like just say, yo, we're going to just move X percentage of our dollars from the major banks to these 3, 4, 5, however many they are banks. Bro, and now we can say, all right, black banks, give us good products. We can demand it.
And hold ourselves
accountable. I'm going to end on that right there. I'm going to slide out on that. I'm going to put my cap on and slide up on that.
Slide. Like, no, I think, I mean, it's kind of the same point, but my overall point is like just from where we came from, obviously, you know what it is to where we are. Like there was dips and valleys and just low points as far as what was done and collectively our psychological effects that happened to us and all that, but we're still here. I think there's a lot that needs to be done, but to me, the biggest picture, and Chad touched on it, Chris touched on it, especially with family, it's just like, yo, just collectivize, like get together. It doesn't even, whether it's by way of bank, even if it's just on some shit like during the weekend, we just getting all the kids together and just telling stories about where we come from and what we were able to do. But I just think that's just a big deal. Larger than just your immediate family, obviously, you know what I mean? Like get the community involved, but that's our path forward. Is because I mean, if the dollars don't tell you what's up, then I don't know what is. Because I know everybody's out here, like, I mean, money is a motivator for a lot of things, be it whether it's just the culture at large, whether it's entertainment, or look into these celebrities, money moves things. So if our $1.345 trillion of spending power don't talk to you, I don't know what else could be. So just collectivize, get together. Word up.
Yo, great episode, fellas.
Wait.
Oh, Chad got something?
Yeah,
let's go, Chad. Let's go. Let's go.
He got some clothes out.
My clothes out. Because as well as y'all too, I own a black business, a minority owned business. Let me make sure my mic is close. The most heartbreaking thing for me as a minority owned business is for other minority owned businesses to patronize but scrutinize. Like that is one of the most heartbreaking things for me to experience, is that we come with so much scrutiny to our black businesses instead of trying to figure out how we can help and support. Like we allow other businesses of other races to kind of like walk on by, but as soon as it comes to our own, we are so easy to scrutinize and not support. We walk in and we give them the most trouble. I've seen it happen in real life.
We know it.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I think as a community, we need to give each other grace. That is one thing that is missing. And for me, like it's kind of emotional because like all of the challenges that I've had as a minority owned business has not come from anyone else but my own community. And my business is set on supporting us and making sure we are provided equity and opportunity in the creative and marketing space. And all of my scrutiny and challenges have come from my own. It is absolutely heartbreaking. And there are moments where I'm like, yo, are we really progressing? Like, are you really doing your part? You know what I'm saying? So my closing statement is, let's give each other grace. Let's support one another, and let's make sure we are reaching back. Thank you for joining my chat talk.
There it is, the chat talk. Yo, great episode, fellas. Great.
Yes.
Yo, teach these babies, man.
Teach these babies.
Even if it's not about like your own, like something you learn in school or some hero you have, like even if it's just your own family, like take this time in this month to talk about the people that came before y'all and all of that.
Yo, if you're not buying something Black right now, take the opportunity to do that. It does not have to be Black Watts, but
we would prefer it to be.
We would prefer, but I personally make a concerted effort to support us in some shape or fashion when I can, because I've been blessed with the opportunity to make purchases. So do that, you know, like provide feedback, make sure we're able to like support one another. So
tell them stories, man. Hey,
yeah.
Black Watts.
You can support us by subscribing on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, going to www.blackwatts.cc, joining Black Watts as a member, getting great resources and support, buying our apparel, repping us, take pictures, post it on Instagram. Yeah. Tell us what you'd love to see more of or less of. All feedback is welcome.
Yeah. More Watts.
Peace. Watts.